You ever notice how people test you without saying a word? They ignore your message and watch how fast you double text. They delay their reply and measure your anxiety. They cancel plans and observe whether you protest or accept. It's never random. It's calibration. They are studying how much access they have to your nervous system. Because the moment you chase, over-explain, or react emotionally, they get the map to your mind. That's the modern power game. Control is no longer forced. It's emotional. They don't need to dominate you physically. They just need to trigger you psychologically. Your anger becomes proof they can move you. Your guilt becomes leverage. Your sadness becomes a string they can pull whenever they want attention. And as Niccolò Machiavelli understood centuries ago, the one who influences your emotions influences your direction. The world doesn't destroy you with violence. It destabilizes you with pressure, subtle pressure, repeated pressure. And the ones who survive it are not the loudest or the most expressive. They're the ones who don't flinch. Emotional control is power because it removes access. Silence makes people nervous because they cannot read it. Calmness creates confusion because it cannot be steered. Restraint builds dominance because it refuses to play. To be emotionally dangerous means no one can predict your next move based on your last reaction. You can feel insulted and still remain steady. You can feel attraction and still remain composed. You can feel disappointment and still move forward without broadcasting it. That's when you become untouchable. You don't need to shout. You don't need to argue. You don't need to prove your strength. Your lack of reaction becomes the statement. Most people want to be loved, understood, reassured. But the moment you stop needing emotional validation from unstable sources, you gain something far more powerful than approval. You gain control. And once no one can control your emotions, no one can control your life. The hidden trap of emotional manipulation is that it never looks like control in the beginning. It looks like care. It looks like concern. It looks like someone saying, "You've changed," when you start setting boundaries. It looks like disappointment when you stop overextending yourself. Manipulation starts with attention. Someone observes you closely. They learn what makes you feel guilty, what makes you feel responsible, what makes you feel afraid of losing them. They collect this information quietly. Then they use it, not aggressively, strategically. They withdraw slightly and watch your panic. They criticize lightly and observe your defense. They praise you and see how attached you become to that approval. Guilt is their favorite weapon. "I thought you were different. I guess I just expected more from you." Those aren't innocent statements. They are emotional hooks designed to pull you back into compliance. Manipulators fear your calm more than your anger. Anger is predictable. Calm is not. If you explode, they learn your trigger. If you defend, they learn your insecurity. But if you remain still, they lose data. And without data, they lose control. Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by fear and interest. Modern manipulators mix both. They make you fear losing them while making you crave their approval. That combination creates dependency, and dependency creates obedience. The most dangerous part is that it feels emotional, not strategic. But it is both. If you consistently feel drained after interacting with someone, that's not chemistry. That's extraction. They are feeding off your reactions. The moment you stop reacting, they escalate. They accuse you of being cold, distant, different. That accusation is not truth. It's desperation. Your silence forces them to confront themselves, and most cannot tolerate that reflection. Being emotionally dangerous does not mean becoming cold or heartless. It means becoming disciplined. It means your emotions exist, but they do not rule you. Most people allow their feelings to spill into every decision. They text when angry. They apologize when lonely. They promise when afraid. They confess when attached. And every impulsive act exposes a weakness. When you act on emotion without strategy, you become readable. And once you are readable, you are predictable. And once you are predictable, you are controllable. Emotional transparency without discipline is vulnerability disguised as honesty. The strongest presence in any room is not the most expressive. It is the most regulated. The person who smiles while irritated. The person who listens while insulted. The person who decides without rushing. They are difficult to destabilize because they refuse to leak. Reaction is surrender. Every immediate emotional outburst gives someone information about how to move you next time. If you get angry at disrespect, they now know disrespect is your button. If you crave reassurance, they know silence will destabilize you. If you overgive when afraid of losing someone, they know distance will make you chase. That is how people become puppets without realizing it. The emotionally dangerous individual studies their own triggers first. What makes you insecure? What makes you defensive? What makes you overinvest? Once you identify these patterns, you can interrupt them. You pause instead of reacting. You breathe instead of responding. You evaluate instead of exploding. That pause is not weakness. It is a weapon. It breaks scripts. It unsettles manipulators. It shifts power back to you. There is also a difference between silence born from fear and silence born from control. Fearful silence avoids confrontation because it seeks approval. Controlled silence chooses timing. Sometimes, the strongest move is to say nothing. Other times, it is to deliver one calm sentence that recalibrates the entire dynamic. If you have an issue, say it directly. No emotion, no aggression, just precision. Controlled confrontation in front of witnesses can reset hierarchy instantly. But it must be rare and measured. If you are always intense, intensity loses value. If you are always passive, passivity becomes your label. Emotional danger lives in contrast. Calm most of the time, surgical when necessary. To master this level, you need structure. First, pause before you react. Every trigger creates a window of choice. Most people close that window instantly. You keep it open. You allow the initial emotion to pass before you act. Second, replace emotion with strategy. Ask yourself what outcome you want, not what your ego wants. Third, train your triggers. Notice repeated patterns where you lose control and rehearse new responses mentally. Fourth, control your external signals, tone, posture, facial expression. Emotions leak through the body. Mastering your body language protects your position. Fifth, speak less than necessary. The more you explain, the more you expose. Precision increases weight. Scarcity increases impact. Build your emotional fortress deliberately. Awareness is the gate. Not every comment deserves entry into your mind. Detachment is the moat. You observe without absorbing. Discipline is the wall. It prevents impulsive cracks. Self-respect is the guard. It enforces boundaries without apology. Resilience is the repair system. When life tests you, you reinforce instead of collapse. Betrayal becomes information. Disappointment becomes calibration. Pressure becomes training. Inside that fortress, you are sovereign. Outside, chaos can shout. Inside, you remain steady. Maintaining emotional power is daily work. Someone will try to provoke you. Someone will attempt to guilt you. Someone will test your patience. Your job is not to win every argument. Your job is to remain unmoved unless movement serves you. Observation replaces assumption. Restraint replaces impulse. Detachment replaces dependency. Over time, people learn something about you. You are not easily triggered. You are not easily controlled. You are not easily read. That reputation becomes armor. Attempts at manipulation decrease because they are ineffective. You become the person others hesitate to test. The man who cannot control his emotions will always serve the one who can. That is the silent hierarchy most refuse to acknowledge. You do not need to dominate anyone openly. You only need to ensure no one dominates you internally. Your emotions are powerful forces, but they are meant to be directed, not obeyed. When your anger waits for your command, when your desire answers to your discipline, when your fear is analyzed instead of followed, you step into a different level of control. You stop being reactive. You start being strategic. True emotional danger is subtle. It does not announce itself. It does not threaten. It does not perform. It simply refuses to be moved without consent. People feel it. They sense that your internal world is guarded territory. They realize they cannot pull you with silence, guilt, or praise. And once that realization sets in, the dynamic changes permanently. You are no longer a participant in their game. You are an observer of it. Your mind becomes your empire. Your reactions become intentional. Your silence becomes heavy. And when no one can access your emotions without your permission, no one can control your direction. That is what it means to be emotionally untouchable. Not empty, not cold, but disciplined, aware, and sovereign. The storm may exist inside you, but it moves when you decide. And once you reach that level, you are no longer reacting to the world. You are navigating it on your terms.